Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to today's English lesson for the 10th grade, Unit 9. Yesterday we had some lessons about money and how did people in the past use to exchange or buy things. We also learned about bank managers and what should they study and what qualities should they have. Today for Unit 9 we're going to study something else, which is the Reading Comprehension and Summary. We'll give you tips for both questions and how to tackle them, so pay attention. For the reading comprehension, we have the following. Before reading, read the questions first. When you do that, you have an understanding of what the paragraphs or the text will be about. At the same time, it will help you find your answers a lot faster. Scan the text and make a prediction. What could the text be about? What are the main ideas hidden inside the text? Consider the following. What do you think the test will be about? And what do you already know about this topic? What is your background knowledge? Last but not least, number the paragraphs. This will help you personally when you want to look for the answers later on. Now, when you read, make sure that you read the text and underline or circle the keywords or possible answers that you may find. I'll show you how to do that in a few seconds. Now we have the types of questions that you might face in the reading comprehension. The first thing you will face is multiple choice. How will the questions come? Let's look at them right now. For the first one, we have the best title and the main idea. So the question will ask you, what do you think is the best title for the text? Or what do you think is the main idea behind the text? Number two, we have the vocabulary. It will come in either of these three questions. It will ask you about synonyms, meaning give us the closest meaning to a certain word. Antonyms, the opposite meaning of a certain word. And then we have the definition. What is the meaning or the exact meaning of a word? Number three, you'll have word reference. Basically, what's going to happen here is we'll give you a word like there or they, and then we'll tell you what does this word or who does it refer to. Number four, you'll have the locating explicit information. I'll explain this in a few seconds as well. Number five, negative factual information. What will happen here is that you'll get 4 statements, 3 of them are false, and 1 of them is true. Or it could be the opposite. 3 of them are true, and 1 statement that is false that you have to choose. For number 6, we'll have the purpose of the writer and the moral lesson. It could be, what is the purpose behind writing this text? Or what do you think is the moral lesson behind the text? For the productive questions, you have 2 different types. Well, the first one is called the explicit question. It means that the answer is clearly mentioned in the text. You will find it inside the text. For the implicit question, the answer is implied and not given explicitly in the text. Meaning, once you read, you will understand the answer, but you will not find it inside the text. So let us look at the questions before we go and read the text. For question number 1, it says, according to the passage, the most common natural disaster is. So this gives us the idea that the text is going to be about natural disasters. Number 2, the underlined word there in paragraph 2 refers to. Number 3, according to the passage, all of the following sentences or statements are true except. So you have 3 statements that are true and 1 statement that is false. Number 4, the writer's purpose in writing this passage is. So this is something that you have to pay attention to in order to find the answer later on. Number 5, how can a frozen river cause a flood? And for the last question is, what results when snow melts? So we've read the questions, we have an idea of what the text could be about. Let's go ahead and read the text together. Let's start. Floods are second only to rainforest wildfires as the most common of all natural disasters. They occur almost everywhere in the world, resulting in widespread damage and even death. Consequently, scientists have long tried to perfect their ability to predict floods. So far, the best that scientists can do is to recognize the potential for the flooding in certain conditions. There are a number of conditions, from deep snow on the ground to human error that causes flooding. When deep snow melts, it creates a large amount of water. Although deep snow alone rarely causes floods, when it occurs together with heavy rain and sudden warmer weather, it can lead to serious flooding. If there is a fast snow melt on top of frozen or very wet ground, flooding is more likely to occur than when the ground is not frozen. Frozen grounds or grounds that are very wet and already saturated with water cannot absorb the additional water created by the melting snow. Melting snow also contributes to high water levels in rivers and streams. Whenever rivers are already at their full capacity of water, heavy rains will result in the rivers overflowing and flooding the surrounding land. Rivers that are covered in ice can also lead to flooding. When ice begins to melt, the surface of the ice cracks and breaks into large pieces. These pieces of ice move and float down the river. They can form a dam in the river, causing the water behind the dam to rise and flood the land upstream. If the dam breaks suddenly, then the large amount of water held behind the dam can flood the areas downstream too. Unleashed dam water can travel tens of kilometers, cover the ground in meters of mud and debris, and drown and crush everything and every creature in their path. Although scientists cannot always predict exactly when floods will occur, they do know a great deal about when floods are likely or probably going to occur. Deep snow, ice-covered rivers, and weak dams are all strong conditions for potential flooding. Hopefully, this knowledge of why floods happen can help us reduce the damage they cause. So we finished the reading comprehension. We understood the main ideas behind the text. We read the questions as well. So now we'll be able to find our answers a lot more quickly. For question number 1, according to the passage, the most common natural disaster is, I'll give you a few seconds to think about this. Could it be the heavy rain, the melting snow, the rainforest wildfires, or the river floods? So what do you think is the answer? Rainforest wildfires. Excellent job. Well done. For number 2, the underlined word there in paragraph 2 refers to. Now, in order to see paragraph 2, here it is. We can see that there is highlighted in yellow right around the ending of the paragraph. So what does there refer to in this paragraph? If you read the sentence, it says, whenever rivers are already at their full capacity of water, heavy rains will result in the rivers overflowing and flooding the surrounding land. So the word there refers to rivers. So is the answer levels? No, it's not. We just told you the answer, right? It's rivers. Well done. Now, according to the passage, all of the following statements are true except. So there's one statement that is not true. It is false. So pay attention to that. We have deep snow with heavy rains and sudden warm temperature can cause flooding. B, scientists have long tried to perfect their ability to predict floods, which is also true. C, saturated ground contributes to flooding because the ground is too hard, so the water runs off. And for the last sentence, large amount of water held behind dams can flood areas downstream. So which statement do you think it doesn't belong with the true statements? The answer is saturated ground contributes to flooding. Excellent job. Let's move on to question number 4. The writer's purpose in writing this passage is to inform the readers of what causes floods to help reduce future damage? Is it to suggest solutions to resist natural disasters? Or could it be compare floods with other natural disasters? Or is it persuading the readers that rivers are not the main cause of floods? The most suitable answer is right there in front of you. You just have a little time to think about it and pay attention to it. So, I think you found the answer, right? It's A. Well done. Now here we have the productive questions. How can a frozen river cause a flood? This is an explicit question, meaning you will find the answer inside the text. So, what do you think causes or how can a frozen river cause a flood? If you look back in the text, you'll find the answers. So I'll give you around 10 seconds to find that answer. The answer is the ice in the river cracks into pieces that eventually create a dam, causing the water to overflow. If this is your answer, well done. If not, pay attention to the next question so you can try again. What results when snow melts? This is also an explicit question. You'll find the answer inside the paragraph. The answer is yes, melting snow causes high water levels in rivers and streams. Very job well done. We finished for the reading comprehension. Now, let's head to the summary making. First of all, we'll begin with some tips to help you how to summarize or to help you in your summary. Summaries are not a place for opinions. We do not want you to write I think or I believe. It's not a place for background knowledge. We don't want you to tell us what you know. And summaries are not a place for personal information. We do not want to know your personal information. Now, how do you summarize a text? Well, number one, you have to read the text and pay attention to the ideas. Number two, don't let big words scare you. If a big word scares you, then read the sentence again in order to understand the context, and that will help you understand or guess what the word means. Number three, ask, what was this text about? What are the ideas that were mentioned inside the text? Your answer should be in complete sentences. It should cover the main point and key ideas. It should be in your own words, so it has to be paraphrased. It shouldn't be written in points. This is very important. Last but not least, your answer should not be off topic. It has to be related to the question and the text. So here is a question for a summary making. In 4 sentences only, summarize and paraphrase the passage in an answer to the following question. What are the steps you need to follow to achieve your goals? Before we do that, you can see there is a rubric right there. This rubric will help you understand what we want from you and how to get the best grade possible in the summary. First of all, pay attention to the content and relevance of ideas. Like we told you, make sure that your text or your answers are related to the text. You have paraphrasing, meaning you answer in your own words. Pay attention to your spelling and grammar, and also pay attention to your format. We want it in paragraphs, not in points. Copying the whole paragraph gives you a 0, so please don't do that. We only want 4 simple sentences. Exceeding the required number of sentences, I'll explain this right now. If you write 5 sentences instead of 4, you get a -5 marks. If you write more than 6 sentences, then you lose 10 marks. Again, we only want 4, so pay attention to that. Summary making, we all have different hopes in life. Everybody wants to achieve something in order to achieve your goal. You need to follow some steps. You need to have a clear picture of what you want to achieve. So this could be one of the answers. Only if you are 100% sure of what you want, you will be able to achieve it. You have to focus on your goal. This could be another answer, isn't it? So let's highlight that. You can never gain without pain. The most important thing to keep you confined to your goal is to keep yourself motivated. Write down the small obstacles that have to be crossed. This is another answer that could help us. Reward yourself when you have crossed your obstacle. It is important to enjoy the fruits of achieving your goal. Don't forget that success is to get up when you fall and try again more intelligently. Always remind yourself that failure is not an option, it is just a temporary setback. This also could be another answer that could help us. Here are some tips that I'll go through very quickly for paraphrasing. Make sure you understand the passage. Break up and join ideas. Elaborate on or shorten some ideas. Maintain the idea of the original passage as truly as possible. To use your own words, you are advised to do the following. Change the vocabulary. Transform a sentence, meaning you change it from active to passive. And last but not least, change the word class. For example, a verb to noun, or a noun to adjective, or adjective to adverb, etc. So let's paraphrase some sentences. For sentence number 1, as you can see, you need to have a clear picture of what you want to achieve. This is our first answer to the question. Now, how do we paraphrase it? We have the word picture and achieve. If you look at the answer or how we paraphrase it to, first, you need to have a clear image of what you want to accomplish. All we did is we took the words picture and achieve, changed them to other words that have the same meaning. So picture changed to image, and achieve turned into accomplish. It's very simple and easy. For sentence number 2, the most important thing to keep you confined to your goal is to keep yourself motivated. Second, you need to keep yourself motivated. It's a very long sentence for answer number 2, isn't it? So what did we do? We made it shorter. We only took the part that says, keep yourself motivated as our answer. Number 3, write down the small obstacles that have to be crossed. We wrote it as, also, the small obstacles that have to be crossed should be written down. All we did here was change from active to passive. Number 4, always remind yourself that failure is not an option. Moreover, always remind yourself that failing is not an option. So this is how your paragraph or your answer should look like, in paragraph form, and words like first, second, also, and moreover should help you in terms of gaining marks. So for this episode, we learned how to extract relevant information after reading a passage, from multiple choice questions to productive questions, and we also paraphrased and summarized a paragraph. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.